So once again, good morning. So for today's lecture, we're going to be talking about accounting for merchandising operations. So particularly in terms of like this particular module, what we're going to be talking about is we're going to be deep diving in terms of inventory. So in terms of like just the overall outline of one of the things that we're going to be talking about, the reason why we're going to be starting about merchandising operations is that you have to know that accounting is all about creating reports for the end users. So syempre, there are different business types and therefore the way we account for them will differ from each entity type. So we're talking about specifically emergent merchandising operations. And then from there, I'll introduce you the fundamentals of inventory system. And then the next parts would be journal entries and then the different subtopics for inventory. So first would be, let's first define what a merchandising company is. So just so that everyone is aware, generally, there are three types of companies, right? You have your service company, your merchandising company, and you have your manufacturing company. Service company, as the name suggests, they sell merchandise. They sell a service. Merchandising, on the other hand, the idea is you're gonna buy a finished good, let's say a t-shirt, from another seller or a wholesaler, and then in turn you're gonna be selling that finished good to a customer. So basically buy and sell, like merchandise. Manufacturing is basically, the only difference is ikaw yung magpo-produce, right? So you get raw materials instead of a finished good. So if you've noticed in terms of what we've been doing, puro mga service entities lang yung mga the things that we've been discussing, right? In terms of like Bullish or Puddy or Cherries, parang all of these are service entities. And the reason why ganun lang yung mga entities that we've been talking about in the first two topics is that it's the simplest operating cycle. Wala siyang inventory. So I've been avoiding using inventory because it will further complicate our understanding in terms of the fundamentals. But now that medyo okay na yung core natin, we can now take a deeper dive in terms of like the next level, right? So the first thing that I want you to understand that's very important is that even more than not just being accountants, everyone should understand that every business has what we call an operating cycle, right? So basically, as the name suggests, it's the time that it takes to operate your business. Particularly, how would you go through these four steps? Not first, okay, you're gonna get assets, right? And then how do you convert those assets into something that is saleable so that either you can sell it through a service or a good? And then how do you then get these, by selling these goods or services, you can get cash or credit in terms of like AR, in terms of like your business so that you can get cash eventually. So that you can then buy more assets. So it's very cyclical in such a way na, okay, kukuha ko ng assets, I'll find a way to get all of these assets so that I can eventually sell to consumers, whether it would be through service or goods. And then in turn, they'll give me cash. That cash, I'll buy more assets so that I can sell to more customers to get even more cash. So basically, that's how operating cycles work. And for a service entity, right? For a service entity, it's very simple, right? So when you get assets, technically your assets is meron kang cash, may capital ka, right? Or owner's capital. Using that capital, you'd probably pay rent or get employees, right? So you're gonna get employees, the one on the right. Dahil may employees ka na, you can perform your service. You can consult, you can provide any type of service, you can give a haircut, etc., etc. In turn, kapag na-service mo na yung, once you've provided the service, the next step is that, okay, either they'll give you cash or they'll give you an accounts receivable, right? So in the case, regardless kung cash or AR, eventually, it will find its way back to cash. And that cash, babayaran mo ulit sa employees and then iikot ulit siya. Like you'll pay the employee will help you in terms of providing the service will generate you cash, and that would complete your operating cycle. Now, our focus for today is a bit more complicated than that, slightly, right? So what are merchandising companies? So general definition would be merchandising companies basically buys and sells goods. So goods meaning merchandise, with the idea that we need to sell these goods to earn a profit. So some specific jargon lang, wholesalers are different from retailers in the sense that wholesalers sell to retailers. And then retailers sell to end consumer. But the general idea is that unlike service companies, na kaya palagi ang napapansin nyo, all of our revenue is service revenue. Now, our expectation is that our primary source of revenue is not through service, but through sales, right? So now, let's look at the operating cycle of a merchandising company. So step one will be the same, right? You start off with your capital, may cash ka. And then, you buy merchandise or you buy inventory from a wholesaler, right? So bibili ka from a wholesaler. And then, from there, i-deliver nila yung goods. So let's say, bumili ka ng glow sticks or light sticks from Alibaba kasi yun yung popular now, right? So it's coming in from like, let's say, China, right? So you buy inventory and then i-deliver nila through freight. And then once na-deliver nila, yung cash na yun, na-convert mo na siya into what you call your inventory. So the one there, inventory. And then once you have your inventory, all you have to do here in the Philippines is to sell inventory to your customers. So again, when you sell your inventory, sometimes it would be accounts receivable. But at the end of the day, all of it will go back to cash. And then that cash, mag-purchase order ka na naman from Alibaba, and then it will repeat the cycle. Right? So basically, that's the idea behind operating cycle of a merchandising company. So, to summarize, the operating cycle of a merchandising company is a lot longer than your service companies, right? Because you buy and sell inventory. And the very key thing here is that merchandising companies has another asset that we call inventory, that we will now classify as current assets. So again, operating cycle, merchandising company is longer than the service company. Our primary source of revenue for merchandising company would be sales revenue compared to service revenue sa service company. And then, and I think ito na yung leeway to the greater insight that we need to take a look at. In terms of categorizing our expenses, it's very different. Merchandising company breaks down its expenses into two major categories. Your cost of goods sold and your operating expenses. Compared to sa service company, isa lang, operating expenses. So again, two categories of expenses. Right? So lastly, just as an aside, baka lang you'll encounter that there's a manufacturing company. Just for your knowledge, basically the difference is instead of buying finished goods, basically babuy ka lang ng raw material. So think of it as you're gonna buy ingredients from the grocery, and then work in progress means like you'll just basically have your chefs parang cook it up, and then yung finished good is basically the pizza. So I always use the pizza analogy as so in the same way, parang different parts, you assemble it in a factory and then you will come out with a product, right? So technically, it's the same as a merchandising company. It's just that sa manufacturing, instead of buying a finished product, you just get raw materials, turn it to work in progress, all the way until you'll be able to have finished goods, right? But generally, those are your three types of companies. So with that said, now that we know or understand merchandising companies, we can now take a deep dive into the actual meat of the topic that we want to discuss, which would be inventory systems. So now we understand na, okay, merchandising companies have these things called inventory, right? So how do we account for these types of inventory? So there are four things that you need to know as your foundation for inventory systems. So first is we'll go to the formal definition of inventory. And then we're gonna be taking a look at the comprehensive income statement, and then cost flows, and then differentiating between two inventory systems. So in terms of like strict definition, remember we use frameworks or standards when we account, right? So based on the standard of IAS 2, the definitions are these are assets that are held for sale in the ordinary course of business. So this refers to your finished good inventory. Either in the process of production for sale or your work in process, and then in the form of materials or supplies to be consumed, or your raw materials, right? So the idea lang here is that, going back to the pizza analogy, right? All of these are your inventory, pero iba-iba lang yung pangalan niya depending on what stage you're at in terms of the production process. So raw materials are inventory, but they typically, these are just yung materials or supplies that you will consume to be able to come up with your finished products. Your work in process is yung parang medyo na-combine mo na siya. So parang think of it as parang niluluto mo siya together. And then finished goods is basically the actual product that you were building towards, right? But I understand na, okay, parang these are all a lot of terms. But the good news is, for merchandising, you don't have to worry about raw materials, work in process. Everything is just finished goods, right? Finished goods lang. So basically, when I say inventory for merchandising, it's just finished goods. No production, just buy and sell. So basically, the idea is you buy from wholesaler, and then going back to the previous example, you buy the light stick from Alibaba as a merchandising company, and then you as a retailer will now in turn sell to your customers, right? So any questions in terms of inventory? Okay, wala pa naman. So now, this is where we're gonna be adding the complexity in terms of accounting. We're gonna be going back to the major idea that, okay, merchandising companies categorizes its expenses very differently compared to service companies, right? So they categorize it into two. Your cost of goods sold, or now I'll refer to it as COGS, and your operating expenses, or your OPEX, right? So what's the difference, right? So merchandising companies has two major categories. So from tayo dati, it's like revenues minus expenses equal to net income. Now you have to understand that there are parang, if this is sales revenue, expenses, and gross profit, we're gonna be taking a look at the differences for the merchandising companies. So number one, what is sales revenue? As the name suggests, it's basically the total revenue from merchandise sold during the period. So whatever yung nabenta mo, how much mo nabenta, that would be your sales revenue. Straightforward, right? Next, expenses, babasagin natin into two. Your COGS, which is basically the total cost of your merchandise sold during the period, versus your OPEX, or basically your expenses incurred in the process of earning sales revenue. That's not a product cost, right? So salaries of your salespeople, your insurance expense. And then the new term that we'll be introducing, or I'm sure you've heard, is gross profit, which is basically your sales revenue minus your COGS. So what do we mean by COGS versus OPEX? I want you to think na in every product, so there's this product, right? Right? I want to sell this cube for, let's say it's a Rubik's Cube. I want to sell this Rubik's Cube for 100, let's say 200 pesos, right? 200, right? In order for me to be able to sell this cube, there are two types of costs that I need to do. One is, kailangan kong bilhin yung Rubik's Cube na to from like another wholesaler for a cheaper price kasi I wanna sell it at 200 eh. So let's say may nakita ako sa Divisoria na nagbebenta sila ng Rubik's Cube for 30 pesos per piece. So mataas yung markup ko, right? So I can earn like 170. So with 30 pesos, I can buy this cube. And then I can sell it for 200 a piece, right? And then, let's say, syempre, kailangan ko ng taga-benta, right? So, I wanna sell this cube, kailangan ko ng taga-benta. I was able to convince na parang, okay, kailangan bayaran na lang kita ng 100 pesos per week. Kare, 100 pesos per week para mabenta tong cube na to. Parang so siya yung basically iikot and sell this Rubik's Cube around. So, in this example, the idea here is that this 30 that I used to buy the cube is my COGS. The 100 is basically my OPEX, right? It's not related to the product. So, for me, COGS is, ano ba yung ginastos ko for the product itself? this product cost is what I call COGS, and then this one is what my OPEX is. So meaning, if I'm asking for ano ba yung gross profit for selling 1 cube, it's the sales revenue of 200 minus the COGS of 30. My gross profit would be 170, right? So basically, yun lang yung idea. Whatever you spend for the product is what you call COGS. So going back to the car example from before, remember na in order to make the car, it's 800,000 pesos versus 1.2 million as the introductory price. The 1.2 is your sales revenue, but this expense is what we call our cost of goods sold, right? So we need to match the COGS to the revenues generated. So what's the gross profit for this particular example, right? So sales revenue of 1.2 million minus 800,000 will be, our gross profit would be 400,000, right? So basically ganun lang, right? So now let's derive our comprehensive income statement. So medyo mag-evolve yung income statement natin for merchandising companies. So going back to the simplest equation that we know, revenue minus expense is equal to net income or net loss. Now expense will be broken down into two. Revenue minus COGS minus OPEX is equal to net income or net loss. Same idea pa rin. Binasag nyo lang yung expense category, right? Now, what did we find out? Revenue minus COGS is equal to gross profit minus OPEX is equal to net income or net loss. So basically, these are the things or the concepts lang that you need to understand. That, okay, revenues minus COGS, gross profit. Gross profit is different from your OPEX, right? So gross profit minus OPEX is equal to your net income or your net loss. So in terms of like the actual format, basically it looks like this. So it's always gonna be a two-step process for me in terms of just solving for your net income for your merchandising companies. Sales revenue minus COGS, step 1, will get your gross profit. So gross profit muna. Once you get your gross profit, you subtract your OPEX and then you'll get your net income or net loss. So let's practice, right? So you sold 240 BTS light sticks for 120,000. What is this? Saan siya papasok sa income statement? This is your sales revenue, right? So this is your sales revenue, so 120,000. And then they incurred the following expenses: 90,000 to buy the light sticks and then 10,000 for the salaries of the sales clerk. So how do we get the gross profit? First is we need to categorize the expenses and identify the COGS. Sa 90 and the 10, which one is your COGS? The 90,000. So therefore, 120 minus 90, meron ka ng gross profit of 30,000. The next step is just, okay, if 90 was the COGS, then the 10,000 would be this. So 30 minus 10 of the OPEX would be your net income, 20,000. So same pa rin, you'll arrive with the same net income. Pero the reason why you want to have an analysis on how much your gross profit is that from a business perspective, dapat maganda yung margins mo, right? It doesn't make sense na parang nagpapakahirap ka na kwari, 90,000 yung COGS ko in terms of how much I buy the product and then I'll sell it for 80,000. So palugi ka in terms of like your gross profit, right? Or even 90,000 pero you're gonna sell it for 90,000 in 1 peso. It's not worth it given that mababa yung margins mo or mababa yung gross profit mo. So the gross profit is super important in terms of determining how much your business makes sense, right? So basically, this is the idea of your matching principle, right? Your sales revenue and your 90,000 of your COGS matches, right? So that's actually the first concept that I want you to understand. So what is the difference between cost of goods sold and operating expenses? The next thing is that we will now identify what are cost flows. And what does that mean? So, okay, maraming nalilito sa inventory. Pero at the end of the day, there are just two things you always have to ask yourself at every point of the production process. It's always gonna be, ilan ba yung products or the quantity of the products and how much. So it's always gonna be two things lang that you're gonna be looking for. It's the quantity and the cost. And this is what will derive your cost flow. So let's start, right? So I will now walk you through what is typically parang a look at the inventory system. So the first thing that I want you to know is that there are different types of parang ways or categorizing the cost flow through inventory. First is, let's say, meron kang beginning inventory means the inventory that you started off with during the period. Let's say you have 15 units for 1,000 pesos each unit. So, ilan yung quantity natin here? 15 units. And then our cost would be 15,000. And then syempre, parang 15, kailangan ko siya ibenta a month, might seem a bit low. So generally, what will happen is that you will buy additional inventory. So when you buy, that's what you call purchases. Right? So beginning inventory and purchases. So sabihin mo, to be safe, for this month, I want 100 units. So from 15, I'll buy an extra 85, right? With 1,000 pesos each, so 85,000. So now, pag combine mo yung beginning inventory plus purchases, what you will have now is what you call your cost of goods available for sale, or what I'll call COGAS, right? So yung COGAS is just basically, for this particular period, ito yung pwede kong mabenta. Ito yung pwede kong mabenta for this particular period, 100 units at 100,000. So quantity, cost. The thing that I want you to understand is that dalawa yung inputs dito. It will always be comprised of your beginning inventory and your purchases. So in the problems, kung kware binigay na 100 to, pero yung beginning inventory mo was 40, it's already assumed na gets nyo na kung 100 yung COGAS and 40 yung beginning inventory, dapat ma-derive nyo na 60 yung purchases. Or in the same way na parang 200 to, and then this one is like 120. So kung nag-purchase ka ng 120 and your COGAS is 200 units, dapat generally, automatic, alam nyo na 80 yung beginning inventory. So you always look at your cost of goods available for sale. That's the important part. So kung may inputs, the next question is, anong mangyayari sa cost of goods available for sale? Sorry. So there are two things lang naman that will happen to an inventory. Either nabenta mo siya for the period, which now will be your cost of goods sold for that period. Right? So kung nakabenta ka ng 80 out of the 100, 80,000 will be your cost of goods sold. Or, pag hindi mo siya nabenta, it will still be an inventory or an asset. Make sense? So, may 100, so going back to the prime example, you have 100 units here. Itong 100, dalawa lang yung pwede mangyari sa kanya. Magiging siyang, it will retain as an asset under inventory, or a portion of it will go cost of goods sold. So, meaning, in the same way that you can have an understanding na, okay, gets ko kung ano yung mangyayari dito, dalawa lang yung outputs niya. Right? Either magiging COGS to, or magiging inventory. So if I say, out of the 100 cost of goods available for sale, our ending inventory is 30. How much is your COGS? 70 siya. Kasi, you have to complete the 100. So, kware, out of 100, baliktad naman, we were able to sell 40 units worth. Ano yung ending inventory natin? 60. So, basically, the idea lang is, you have to ask yourself, what is the cost of goods available for sale? How much was sold? Yung sold will be your cost of goods sold. Not sold would be retained as your ending inventory. So with that said, the idea here, or parang my format, so the first format na I showed you was the comprehensive income statement. The next one that I need you to master or to fully understand would be your cost flow. And this is how it looks like. Beginning inventory plus purchases is equal to your cost of goods available for sale. And then, typically kasi, ang hinahanap natin is your COGS. So, the format usually goes na, beginning inventory plus purchases is equal to hugas minus ending inventory equals your COGS. So, usually ang hinahanap nyo is your COGS. Right? Any questions or clear naman so far? So, lastly, we're gonna go na to the two inventory systems. So, actually, it's a bit more straightforward in terms of the past three. But now, yung complication natin is that there are different inventory systems, right? So, in terms of the journal entries, parang aside from knowing one type of inventory system, the expectation is magigets nyo rin how it affects if it's different, right? So, ano yung difference? In inventory, there are two inventory systems. One is called perpetual, and the other is called periodic systems. So, pag perpetual, I want you to think grocery store with a barcode. Like yung pag kinascan when you check out. That's a perpetual inventory system. Versus a periodic, I want you to think co-op, right? Na parang mano-mano lang in terms of like how they, the inventory. Or hindi ko lang alam now kung nag-advance. But generally, it's more of like manual in terms of the process. So what is the difference? Sa perpetual, as the name suggests, it perpetually updates. Parang it details the records of the cost of each inventory every time nabibenta. So every time nagsascan ka ng barcode or every time may POS system sila that can track in na update yung inventory. So the idea is, the trade-off is better control, real time, right? So this is typically for high unit values. And the major difference is that they take note of the COGS each time a sale occurs. So every time nagbi-beep, natatrack nila kung how much yung COGS of that particular transaction, right? So that's your perpetual system. So think grocery. In contrast, periodic, ang ginagawa nila is similar to how like a co-op would do it, or like how probably like an Instagram shop would do it. Or kaya like nagbebenta kayo ng shirts in terms of like sa tambayan, right? Rather than take note of how much yung nabenta nyo, what you'll do is you'll bulk order 100 shirts. And then at the end of the month, bibilangan nyo ilan yung shirts na natira. Like let's say 20. So, given na alam yung 20, i-compute nyo na lang na probably 80 yung nabenta ko. So parang ganun yung periodic. So, the major difference between perpetual and periodic is this one perpetually updates, and therefore, it tracks its cost of goods sold each time a sale occurs, versus sa periodic na it only periodically checks your cost of goods sold. Meaning, they determine it at the end of the period lang. Right? So, the trade-off is, mas cheaper, of course, si periodic, pero it has less control compared to perpetual. So, now that we understand perpetual and periodic, the thing is, regardless of your inventory system, there are 9 concepts that are the same for each of them. So 9 sounds a lot, but the idea lang is, there are 3 major phases. Bibili ka ng inventory, magbebenta ka ng inventory, and then magko-consolidate ka at the end of the period. Regardless of perpetual or periodic, they will all go through this 9-step process. They'll purchase, they'll sell, and then they'll close. Right? So, because of the differences, isa-summarize ko na sa inyo ano yung key differences under each. Sa perpetual and sa periodic, they both record the purchase of inventory, right? So, kuwari, bibili ka ng t-shirts. You will both record. Walang difference. Ang difference lang is how they name their journal entries. So, ang difference lang here is how they'll name their journal entries, right? Sa second phase, when they sell inventory, this is where the key difference will come in. Kapag perpetual ka, you will record your sales revenue as normal, but you will now compute and record your cost of goods sold at the same time. Pero kung periodic, yung re-record mo lang kung ano yung nabenta mo. Right? At the end of the period, wala ka na masyadong entries sa perpetual. Versus sa periodic na, okay, hindi niya nga na-record during the sale, pero at the end of the period, doon niya i-compute kung how much yung cost of goods sold niya. So, the difference lang is when they record their cost of goods sold. Perpetual, every time a sale occurs. Periodic is at the end of the period. So, ito yung key concept that I need you to understand. COGS. So, every time I ask myself, ano ba difference? COGS, each time a sale occurs is perpetual, pero at the end, it's periodic. So, we're done with the two types of inventory systems. So now, we're gonna be going through the wholesale cycle under muna first perpetual. So, para hindi ma-overwhelm, master perpetual, and then just understand paano nyo iti-tweak to make it periodic, right? So, given the amount of things that we're gonna be discussing, parang have a strong core in terms of perpetual, and then sa periodic, I'll just guide you on how to tweak it na madali. So first is perpetual, right? So with that, let's go for a case study talking about the perpetual system using Toys R Us, right? So let's say Toys R Us is looking to sell Minion toys given the popularity of the movie, right? So step 1 of the 9-step process. The very first thing is that we will purchase the merchandise, right? So, kuwari, bibili siya. So, basically, the idea is, journal entry 1 is what? Sorry. Journal entry 1 is... Okay. The first thing is, bibili ka ng inventory, right? So when you buy inventory, similar to what we've done before, debit inventory, credit, cash, or accounts payable. So that's journal entry number 1, right? Because purchases are normally recorded by when you create what you call a purchase invoice, right? So, purchase of inventory, may 2 choices ka lang. Always, it's gonna be a debit inventory. Pero yung credit mo, either you pay in cash or may utang ka doon sa supplier, right? Debit inventory, credit, cash, or accounts payable. So, for this example, this is what it looks like. So, let's say they got an idea to buy from the wholesaler YK Plush Toys Co., right? So, they bought 100 million plushie toys for 72,500 and then merong maraming terms, right? For now, ignore those terms, but ano yung journal entry, right? It will be debit inventory, 72,500, credit, accounts payable on 72,500. Kasi, they bought it on credit, right? So that's the first journal entry, right? So debit inventory, credit, cash, or credit AP. Makes sense so far. Pero, paano kung binili nila in cash? Pag binili nila in cash, pare, instead of that, they say directly by cash, by 72,500, then i-credit nyo lang is 72,500 cash. But regardless, whenever you buy or purchase inventory, tataas si inventory. Kaya debit inventory, and then bababa either si cash or magge-generate ka ng accounts payable. The next thing is, okay, nag-agree na tayo. Bumili ako sa inyo ng plushies. Pero it's in Hong Kong, right? So now, the idea is, they will now deliver to Toys R Us the Philippines. And this is where the idea of freight comes in, right? So basically, freight is how they plan to deliver it. So the idea lang is, for freight, ang pinaka-importanteng tanong lang is, sino yung magbabayad dun sa courier? Sino yung magbabayad dun sa freight? Right? And this is where the first technicality will come in. You will encounter shipping terms, right? So shipping terms, ang pinaka-popular is FOB or free on board. There are 2 types. FOB shipping point or FOB destination point. If you're the type like me na I just memorize, it's basically shipping point, BSP, buyer pays the freight. Yun lang iniisip ko, BSP, parang buyer pays the freight kapag shipping point. Pag seller, it's SDP, right? So, FOB, destination point, si seller yung magbabayad. So, pag shipping point, si buyer yung magbabayad. Destination point, si seller yung magbabayad. But why? Right? It's because, the idea is, pag FOB shipping point, the goods are placed free on board the carrier, right? Versus, ito, free on board the buyer's business. So, the idea is, kung sino yung magre-record ng entry for the delivery cost. So kung ikaw, since nasa perspective tayo ni Toys R Us, if it's FOB shipping point, we will record a journal entry. Pero if it's FOB destination point, hindi tayo mag-journal entry kasi hindi tayo nagbayad ng shipping fee. Right? Si seller yung magre-record. So kindly note lang dun sa highlight sa baba na ganun yung itsura. Right? So the idea kasi here is that the ownership will pass through the buyer here sa pag-load kapag shipping point. Meaning, kapag shipping point, from the moment na isi-ship pa lang siya, mapapass yung ownership kay buyer here. And therefore, siya yung magbabayad. Versus sa seller or sa destination point, sa destination pa lang, matatransfer yung ownership. Kaya syempre, sino yung may-ari during the freight? Si seller pa rin. So kaya siya shipping point and destination point. It tells you when the ownership is being transferred. Sa shipping point, the ownership is transferred at the port of shipping. So ang question is, normally, kung na-transfer mo na kay buyer here, kanino na tong goods na to? Kay buyer. So siya yung magbabayad. Versus, pag destination, dito pa lang, pagka-land niya pa lang here, nagta-transfer kay buyer. So, sino yung may-ari dito habang nagta-transit? Si seller. So, kung sino yung may-ari, siya yung magbabayad. And kung sino yung magbabayad, siya yung mag-journal entry. Yun lang naman yun. So, for me, this is the image na I always think about when I think FOB shipping point and destination point. If it will transfer here, si buyer will pay. If it's destination, si seller will pay. Right? So how do you create the journal entry for this? The journal entry is debit inventory, credit cash. So tataas siya. Bakit tumaas si inventory? It's because parang the idea here is the first question pala ng mga tao sa akin is, sir, bakit hindi siya expense? Parang bakit hindi siya delivery expense? It's because the idea of an asset is that, so think of it as, this is the, whatever. Parang ito yung minion toy that they want to do, right? The idea behind it is that, mabibenta mo ba siya kung hindi mo siya natanggap? Parang hindi, di ba? So that transportation was crucial for you to be able to sell it. And therefore, rather than treat it as an expense, kailangan mo siyang i-add sa inventory. So therefore, it's categorized as an asset, right? Kasi hindi mo siya magbenta kung hindi mo siya natanggap. So please take note na it's not an expense yet, right? It will be nakalubog siya sa inventory because it was crucial for you to be able to get the item. And then you will only record the journal entry if you're the buyer. So, let's say na dalawa yung example, right? So, 2A, 2B. Sa 2A, shipping point. Sa 2B, destination point. From our perspective, ano yung journal entry natin? 2A or 2B? 2A. Right? So, sa 2A, we write debit inventory, credit cash of 5,250. Versus sa 2B, wala tayong entry. Pero si seller will be the one to record it. And then, kay seller, we'll talk about it later, pero siya in-expense out niya. Because this is not something naman na he will sell in terms of like the future. So, we'll talk about that in the future. The next concept would be purchase returns and allowance. So sometimes, So, na-ship na natin. Dumating na here sa Philippines. Sometimes, because bulk order yun, like they'll order 1,000 units, hindi maiiwasan na may mga merchandise that are defective, inferior, or are not in accord with the purchase specification. So, anong gagawin mo dun sa mga items na yon? You have two choices. You either return the goods to the seller. So, ito, babalik ko sa'yo, pero may credit ka, babawasan mo yung kailangan kong bayaran ha. Or, bibigyan ka ng allowance na parang, okay, hassle, isi-ship mo pa back to the other country. Ganito na lang, bibigyan na lang kita ng allowance or a deduction from the purchase price. So, bibigyan na lang kita ng quote-unquote discount. But the technical term is an allowance from the purchase price, right? So here, what will happen is, bababa yung inventory, right? So, from now, parang the idea here is that I want you to understand na what is the true cost of this minion. First is, meron kang purchase, so that's an addition to the price. Tumataas yung value ng cost nito, right? Next is, meron kang freight, it adds to the value of the inventory, right? Pero now, since meron kang allowance or return, PRA ang tawag, purchase return or allowance, it decreases the value of inventory. Why? Because, let's say, taking it away from the example, 1,000 yung sales price, right? And then, yung freight is 10, let's say, 1,010. Binigyan ka ng allowance of 100 kasi siguro parang 10% was defective. What's now the value of your inventory? It's 1,000 plus 10 minus 100 is equal to 910. So, ganun lang yung idea. Bumabawas yung purchase return and allowance kay inventory because yung purchase price mo, technically, nadidiscountan. Kapag tama niya binigay, it would have been 1,000 at the start. Pero dahil may mga defective products, hindi mo nababayaran yung 1,000 na to. May deducted sa price. And therefore, rather than a debit inventory for purchase return and allowance, bababa siya. And then, bababa rin yung kailangan mong bayaran na utang. Right? So, kaya here, this is like debit AP, credit inventory. Because bumababa yung kailangan mong bayaran. So, let's go to the example. So, in-inspect nila yung plush toys. And then nakita nila here na instead of a minion, they have this plushie instead. Because parang sabi nila, parang hindi naman siya up to the specifications agreed upon. So, okay, nag-agree si seller and then sabi niya, okay, bibigyan na lang kita ng 7,250 in allowance. So, how do we journalize the entry? Basically, bababaan lang natin sa inventory, bababaan din natin yung kailangan mong bayaran na utang. So, that would be debit accounts payable, 7,250, credit inventory of 7,250. And then lastly, would be the idea of purchase discounts. So what is the idea of purchase discounts? Right? So, as a seller, or parang when you're in business, cash is king. Right? And even though now, parang it feels weird for you to hear the words accounts receivable or accounts payable, when you're actually in a business, for example, kami here in consulting, parang hindi naman kami binabayaran outright eh. Parang there are payment terms, right? And the idea here is, you want to be as liquid as possible. So, parang sometimes, mahirap kasi maghabol for clients to pay or for customers to pay. So, what you do is you try to incentivize them na the earlier you pay, the more that will give you a discount. Kasi the faster I'll get my cash. Same idea with these wholesalers. Right? What they want is, a lot of times, accounts payable yan. So, bibili ka ng, let's say, 1,000 units, accounts payable yan. They will include terms that will incentivize you to pay early. So, makikita nyo sometimes 2, 10, and 30. What does that mean? It means that I'll give you a 2% cash discount if you pay back within the 10 days na I delivered it. Pero regardless whether ang deadline mo talaga is kailangan mo ko bayaran within 30 days. So, the format is 2, 10, and 30. So, basically, the first one is, this is the number of days, this is the amount of percent. So, pare, 315 is 3% if you pay within 15 days. And then N30 is, you have to pay within 30 days. So, parang, if I say, 420 and 120, that means I'll give you a 4% discount if you pay within 20 days. Pero regardless, you have to pay me within 120 days. So the idea lang is, you have to understand the payment terms. And then, in counting dates in accounting, kindly note of IFCL. So, ignore first day, count last day. So, we're talking about what's 10 days from today. I won't count today, so ignore first day, pero I'll count last day. Later, you'll see. So, there are two options lang naman, right? When you're the buyer, either you take the discount, so you'll pay the full cost, or you will take the discount by paying early, right? So again, this decreases your inventory because the discount reduces the cost of inventory purchased. So lastly, purchase discount lowers the amount of your inventory. So, the journal entry lang naman here is kung hindi ka nag-take ng discount, ang mangyayari lang is you're gonna pay the accounts payable that was due at that date, and then you will credit your cash, right? But, mas magiging complicated lang siya in terms of like the discount taken because what will happen would be you'll still de-recognize the whole accounts payable, pero yung amount of cash that you'll pay for is less than the amount that yung utang mo, and then the rest, ibabawas mo sa inventory. So, let's look at the example. So, the terms are 210 and 30 nung July 22, and then 4B is July 20, 2022, paid within 10 days, right? Okay, so 4A muna tayo. Walang discount na taken. So, it was July 2022. So, basically, it's after the 10 days. So, right now, our inventory is at 17,500 less the PRA. We have 65,250. So, ito na lang yung remaining accounts payable balance natin for that particular order. So, now we will debit AP of 65,250, credit cash of 65,250. The difference naman here is that you have July 20 is within the 10 days, right? What will happen now is that ito pa rin yung balance natin of 65,250. So automatic, you make the debit of accounts payable 65,250. Pero, the question is, how much in cash mo lang babayaran to? Because you have a 2% discount, you get the 2% of 65,250. That's 1,305. So, what will happen will be that you'll pay yung 1,305, that will be your purchase discount. This is your inventory. I-credit mo yung inventory. Yung remaining, to make it equal, that's how much you should pay in cash. That's your credit cash. So, for these types of journal entries, my first suggestion for you is, step 1, determine yung balance of your accounts payable. So, 65,250. I-debit nyo na kagad sa accounts payable. So, that's step 1 for discount journal entries. Step 2, get the purchase discount. 2% of 65,250, 1,305. I-credit nyo na kagad sa inventory. And then whatever remains, that's your credit cash of 63,945. So with that said, we're done with the summary of purchases. And basically, if papagawin ko kaya ng T account of your inventory, it would look something like this, right? And this is similar to what I was saying kanina, right? What affects your inventory? A purchase will increase your inventory, freight will increase your inventory, but purchase returns and purchase discounts always lowers down your inventory account. Now that we're done with purchase, which I think maraming key terms, sales is a bit more straightforward. Pero, kailangan nyo lang tandaan. right? So sales revenue is when sales transactions is when we'll uphold our matching principle. So tandaan nyo, perpetual inventory system, dalawa palagi yung journal entries every time you sell, right? One entry to recognize revenue, one entry to match COGS. So yung revenue, alam nyo na yan, right? When you sell, it's debit cash / AR, credit sales revenue. Pero yung COGS, dun yung ito-turn into COGS yung inventory. So therefore, recognize expense, de-recognize inventory. So debit cost of goods sold, credit inventory. So this is what it would look like, right? There are two differences lang. Either you'll be able to sell pero in credit or an account, or you'll be able to sell in cash. Regardless, ito yung journal entry. Debit cash AR, credit sales revenue, debit COGS, credit inventory. So dalawa yung journal entry for sales, right? So let's say na you were able to sell it at 75,000. So ang gagawin niyo lang is debit AR, credit sales revenue, 75,000. And then, let's say the COGS is 38,450. Then that would mean you do debit COGS, credit inventory at 38,450. So, dalawang journal entry for this sale. And then, pag in cash, it's the same thing lang naman. Nag-iba lang si cash. And then, in the same way na we have purchase returns and allowance, we also have sales return and allowance. So, baliktad naman. Ikaw yung nagbenta dun sa customer. And then si customer, hindi rin siya happy. Right? So, now, we will introduce a new account for you to understand, which is our sales return and allowance. So, SRA, ang tawag, is a contra-revenue account to sales. The normal balance of an SRA is a debit. Why would we have this instead of like a debit sales revenue? It's because we want to keep track of the amount of returns that we have. So sales return and sales allowance is just basically the same idea as your PRA. So now, kapag basically two entries rin kapag nagkaroon ng sales return and allowance, one is to recognize the reduced revenue, and then another is to reduce the number of COGS that's matched, right? So in terms of the journal entries, it would look like this, right? Kapag nagkaroon ka ng sales returns and allowance, it would be debit SRA. So technically, that's like a contra asset account to service revenue. Credit AR, and then yung inventory, ibabalik mo lang. So debit inventory, credit COGS. So what would it look like? So, kuwari, 10% of kung ano yung nabenta nila, unsatisfied yung customer. Parang ganito yung itsura na na-receive nila. Right? So, what do we do? Right? Ide-debit mo yung SRA for 7,500, which is the cost of your sales return allowance. You credit your accounts receivable, and then, ibabaliktad mo lang yung entry before. Magre-recognize ka ng inventory worth 3,845, and then COGS of 380.45. Kasi the idea is, 3,845 is not an expense anymore. Kasi binalik mo yun kay seller eh. Naging inventory siya ulit. So finally, similar ulit, kung may purchase discount, may sales discount rin. So again, you will have debit cash, credit AR kapag you receive full revenue. Pero same idea lang in terms of your sales discount, in terms of the value of the discount. So how will it work, right? So pag walang discount, ito yung balance of our accounts receivable, right? All we have to do is debit cash, credit AR for the balance of 67,500. This is the cost of the invoice minus the SRA in terms of the production. Tapos, sa iteration B, what will happen is they paid within the discount period, si customer. So what will happen would be, you credit AR, kasi ito yung utang nila sa'yo, and then you solve for the discount, so you debit sales discount at 6,750, and then what's remaining will be the cash amount that you'll actually receive. So similar with your SRA, your sales discount is a contra sales revenue account. That will be reducing the amount of revenue that you're gonna be taking in. So the idea here is that, di ba kanina what we were solving for was like net inventory. Here, we're gonna be looking at your net sales. Na through these journal entries, okay, our total sales revenue dapat talaga was 75,000. Pero nagkaroon ng problem. Number one, nagkaroon ng return. So, my sales revenue now was deducted by 7,500 kasi binalik ko eh. So, kung binalik sa'yo, wala siyang revenue in terms of the sale. And then second is that may discount. So, minus 7,500 minus 6,750 net sales. So, if I ask you, what is the net sales for this company? The equation would be sales revenue minus SRA minus sales discount. So again, what's the net sales of the company? It's sales revenue minus SRA minus sales discount.
What if dun sa, for example, binalik yung product diba, tapos defective siya? Eh of course, di mo naman yung pwede i-sell, i-resell, kasi defective siya. So, how would you account for that parang loss value?
Good question. So, basically, ang ginagawa is that parang this is more of complicated accounting. Pero the idea lang talaga, generally, is that some of it will be treated as a loss. So basically, parang mag-expense out siya somehow. Pero yung knee-jerk reaction would be, you will kung whatever allowance or whatever return, so, di ba, mas maliit siya than, sorry, hindi ko pero, whatever yung return niya, ang ginagawa lang niya is, i-reduce mo yung revenue associated to that sale, and then i-reduce mo rin yung expense associated to that sale. I-bring back mo lang siya to inventory. And then at the end of the period, you will look at how much na yung total value of your inventory. And then whatever's the difference, i-expense out mo. That's the idea, generally. So, with that said, we can go to parang closing of entries, right? So, the last step, sorry, alam ko maraming nangyari, but the last step is that, okay, end of the period na tayo. Magbibilang ka ng inventory. So, even though perpetual or periodic ka, at the end of the day, you wanna be sure that you're accurate with the system. So, magbibilang ka. And then, ang mangyayari is that there are two scenarios. There are three. Tama yung bilang ng, sorry. Para mas clear. So, again, there are three major stages, right? Purchase, sale, right? And then, sa perpetual, meron kang record na every time nagkakaroon ng purchase and sale, parang tinitake into account mo, magkano na yung COGS mo, etc., etc. And then let's say, at the end of the period, you were able to determine that my ending inventory, based on my perpetual system, is 90. Right? 90. As accountants, ang gagawin nyo is i-double check nyo kung tama to. So what you will do is, this is based on book. Right? What you will do is, at the end of the period, you'll go to the warehouse and then you will have a physical count. The idea or the question that you're gonna ask yourself is, 90 ba talaga yung ending inventory ko? There are three scenarios. 100 yung ending inventory. 90 siya or 80. Right? There are three scenarios. Tama yung inventory, so wala ka nang gagawing entry or wala ka nang adjustment. Scenario 2 is the physical count is higher. Or scenario 3, the physical count is lower. So the next question is, sino yung mas tama? Yung perpetual inventory system o yung bilang mo? You always follow the physical count. Mas tama yung na-verify mo by physical count. So what we will follow is kung ano yung nabilang mo. And therefore, The one in blue is kapag mas mataas yung physical count mo, you have to increase your inventory by debiting inventory, and then ano yung i-credit mo? Yung COGS. So bababaan mo yung COGS that you recognize for the period. Pag mas baba yung physical count mo, ibababa mo yung inventory by recognizing more of your cost of goods sold. Right? So yun lang naman yung entry for that. So we conducted an inventory count. So inventory based on the record is 34,590. And then the physical count is 335. Ano yung susundan natin? Yung record or yung count? Count. And therefore, mas mataas si count by 410. So now we have to debit inventory 410, credit COGS 410. Next, record is 34,590, pero the count is 30,000. Which will we follow? Yung 30,000. And therefore, debit COGS 4,590, credit inventory of 4,590, which is the difference of the cost of goods sold. And then the last would be closing entries. Some things to note lang sa closing entries. Diba, contra revenue account siya. So whatever this is, credit siya ng SRE and sales discount. But no need to worry about this. I'm not gonna focus too much on closing entries. What I want you to take away from today's discussion are the core concepts of the inventory system. So basically, how sales discount works, mga purchase discounts, and whatnot. So now, we're done with the whole inventory system for perpetual, right? So perpetual. So now, we're gonna go to periodic, right? So periodic naman tayo. so sa periodic, medyo mas simpler na lang natin gagawin, right? Yun. So again, this is your journal entries for your perpetual, right? And then, what's the difference sa periodic? The difference is just the names of the account. Meaning, for perpetual, puro inventory lang siya, right? Inventory, inventory, inventory. For periodic, literally, pinapangalanan mo lang siya. So, this is purchases. This is freight in. Freight in kasi freight in to the company. Credit inventory, pero ito PRA, and this is purchase discount. So, that's the first difference lang. We account for it the same way, iba lang yung name. Pag perpetual, it's for inventory. For periodic, it has their special names. These special names, right? So, we now look at ano yung akala, right? For this, we have purchases and freight in. So, similarly, para lang siyang mga inventory. So, it increases your inventory. So, the normal account will be debits, right? And then, for PRA and purchase discount, the normal account will be credits because they are decreasing your periodic. They're increasing your inventory. So, some things to take note for these ones. To start, let's just review, right? So, first, okay, nag-purchase ka ng merchandise from Ravine Company for 19,000. What would be our journal entry? Here, it would be debit inventory, credit accounts payable of 19,000. Yung periodic counterpart lang niya is, iibahin mo lang yung inventory to purchases. It's that simple. Ito, you paid freight, right? And FOB shipping point. So what kind of shipping is it? So let's say FOB shipping point. Debit inventory, credit cash of 800. Pero ito, freight in lang siya. Debit freight in, 800, credit cash. Next, nag-return. So, debit AP, credit inventory, 4,000. Pero ito, debit AP, pero credit purchase return and allowance. So, basically, kung ano lang yung inventory mo, papalitan mo lang yung pangalan of what's happening. And then, what are the terms? Is the discount available? Yeah. So, here, so nag-take siya ng discount. So, from here, aalamin mo lang what is the balance of your accounts payable. So, 19,000, which is your inventory, minus your purchase return of 4,000, may 15,000 kang balance. So that's the balance. So debit AP, credit inventory 300, cash of 14,700. So same lang sa perpetual, pero iba lang yung pangalan. So that's basically just the difference between perpetual and periodic. The next new one, so tatlo lang yan. So we're done with one. The next one is a sales. Sa sales, it's the same. Ano lang yung nawala? Wala lang yung second entry for cost of goods sold for your returns and your sales. Right? So kung ito, meron kang COGS inventory COGS. Pero ito, wala. That's only the difference. Right? So, kuwari, nakabenta ka. So, basically, the only difference lang is there's no entry to match the cost of goods sold. That's it. Sa periodic, walang entry to match COGS. Same here, walang entry to match COGS, right? So, we'll be uploading this. So, for me, ang magandang practice is that you go through each of these and then you try to write your perpetual and your periodic, right? And then finally, may discount taken. So, wala, it's the same. So, it's the same journal entry. So, the idea lang is, wala lang tong dalawa. And that's basically the difference for your periodic. And then lastly, at the end, the next question is, how do we get inventory for periodic, right? So at the end of the period, these are all temporary accounts. So we will close it to find our cost of goods sold. So ito lang yung tandaan nyo for periodic. So going back to our cost flows, this is how we will solve for our cost of goods sold for periodic. Beginning inventory. So ito kaya yung ending accounts of your merchandise. This is how we will do it. First is, we will get your beginning inventory of 40,500. And then we will look at the end account of your purchases at 447,000. We will subtract our PRA, or purchase return and allowance, of 6,400. We will subtract our purchase discount of 12,000. That will give you your net purchases. You add in your freight, so 5,600. That will give you what we call our cost of goods purchased. So beginning inventory plus cost of goods purchased will be your cost of goods available for sale. And then you subtract yung ending inventory natin, which is at the count is 65,000. So now 474,700 minus 65,000 will give you your cost of goods sold at 409,700. And therefore, our journal entry will look something like this, right? So we're trying to find out our COGS. This is gonna be the adjusting entry that you will do for periodic. Debit inventory. So the first step is you debit the ending inventory count. So inventory based on count, 65,000. You credit, and then you debit the PRA, or the purchase return and allowance, right? And then you debit the purchase discount, you credit the beginning inventory, and then you credit the purchases, and then you credit the freight in, and then that will give you your cost of goods sold. So in the next session, we will review, or in the supplemental recording, we will review how to do this. Pero basically, ito lang yung closing entry for periodic. So ang trade-off ni periodic is that wala kang nire-recognize na COGS at the end of the period, pero because of your temporary accounts, sobrang hassle niya i-close at the end. So that's the only thing that you need to take note of. So to summarize, the three differences lang is, instead of inventory, you have temporary accounts. Second is that you do not compute COGS every time there's a sales transaction. But instead, at the end of the period, you find your cost of goods sold using this equation. So with that said, I think we can stop the lecture now. So just to stop the lecture now.